welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're sorting through those top global news headlines from July 15th, 2025. Our job is to pull out the really important insights for you, basically cut through the noise.
Exactly. Think of it as your shortcut to getting genuinely up to speed. We'll give you the surprising details and the context you need from today's world events. You'll start to see how things that seem separate are often, well, connected.
Okay, so let's unpack this first big thing that jumped out. It's from WKMG. There's a new international survey, and it's showing a pretty big shift in how the world sees major powers. Views of China and Xi Jinping seem to be improving, but opinions of the U.S. and President Trump, they've dipped. What's going on there?
Well, what's really striking is how quickly these perceptions can change, isn't it? This isn't just about, who's popular. A shift like this could actually give China more leverage and things like resource deals, maybe votes at the UN. And conversely, it might make it tougher for the U.S. to rally support on big issues, trade, climate action, that sort of thing. Soft power really can translate into, hard policy outcomes.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, let's pivot now. Something major happening here in the U.S. This has huge implications for education funding, how it's all managed. Democracy Now! Is reporting the Supreme Court okayed the dismantling of the education department. And boom, 24 states plus D.C. are suing the administration. Why? Because nearly $7 billion in education funds have been frozen.
Yeah, this is really a landmark moment. Just to be clear, the court upheld an earlier executive order. That order allowed for a huge reduction in the Education Department's federal role, essentially paving the way for this dismantling of oversight.
Right.
So it really throws open the whole question of the federal government's future role in schools, and it taps right into that ongoing tension, that debate about central power versus local control.
Can you break that down a bit more, that central versus local dynamic here?
Sure. So proponents of a strong federal role, they argue it's needed for national standards, for equity between states, and especially for funding help for disadvantaged kids. But those who favor local control argue that, states and local communities know best how to run their schools, tailor policies to their needs. So freezing this $7 billion, it's not just a budget thing. It really cranks up the heat on this whole philosophical and now legal battle.
Yeah.
And the impact on schools, on students, that's immediate, very real.
Okay, so while the U.S. is dealing with these big domestic issues, let's look at its actions internationally. Democracy Now! Also had this. President Trump announced plans to send billions in weapons to Ukraine, but through NATO allies.
Yeah.
And there's a threat attached new sanctions on Russia if a peace deal doesn't happen in 50 days. What's the play here strategically?
It's definitely a high-stakes balancing act, diplomacy on a tightrope, really. Sending aid via NATO, setting that hard deadline. It kind of tests NATO's resolve and puts pressure on Russia to negotiate all at once. It's a gamble. It could shift who's seen as responsible if things stall. It just underlines how urgent and, frankly, how complicated the efforts are to manage this conflict.
Yeah, complicated is right. Now, amidst all this geopolitics and policy fights, there's another global concern that just keeps popping up. Public health basics. Here's a stat from the World Health Organization that really stands out. In 2024, 14.3 million children worldwide missed out on essential vaccinations.
That number is just staggering, 14.3 million. It's a stark reminder, isn't it, that even with all our medical progress, just getting basic vaccines to kids is still a massive challenge globally.
Yeah.
And it's not just about having the vaccines. It's logistics, it's vaccine hesitancy. Sometimes it's trying to reach kids in conflict zones or really remote places. It shows how fragile even basic health systems can be.
Absolutely. But, it's not all heavy news. It's good to find those moments that lift us up, too. Global News shared this really great story. Edmonton's Bel Canto Choir. They went to the 2025 International Choir Competition in France, and they won first place. Not just once, but in all 4 categories they entered. A clean sweep.
That's fantastic. It really is a wonderful reminder, that amongst all the global complexities and tensions, you still have these incredible moments of human skill, shared passion, music connecting people across borders.
So quite the deep dive today. You've heard about shifts in global power, major U.S. policy changes, those high-stakes security moves, but also, a moment of pure harmony. It's a complex picture out there.
It really is. And this dive hopefully shows you that when you look closely, you can start connecting the dots between events that seem unrelated, whether it's understanding global opinion shifts or appreciating a choir's perfect pitch. So think about it. What connections did you spot today? Maybe ones